Here we go again. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I'm your host Mishi, and welcome to episode 2 of my little Dress to Impress podcast, where I talk all things dress to impress. Now today's episode, we're going to be revisiting a topic I have covered before, and that is the infamous Dress to Impress versus It Girl debate. Is It Girl copying Dress to Impress? So around 3 months ago, when I started my channel actually, I posted a very brief video addressing the debate. I had no idea that people would take this topic very seriously, almost personally, nor did I expect that video to become the most popular video on my channel. That said, there were a lot of things left out in the initial video. Today, I want to continue the conversation by diving deeper into the statistics and being more specific about what exactly is being copied. As always, I welcome and respect all opinions in the comments, but any unnecessary hate to any parties involved will not be tolerated. I also ask that you watch the entire video before commenting, as I often get debates on points I've already debunked. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Shout out to my top donors, and let's get this party started. I'm gonna dive straight into the juicy details because some of you have the attention span of the goldfish. Around the Halloween update, so it's been a little while, the creator of It Girl, SARA, came forward and exposed Dress to Impress creator GIGI for saying some pretty nasty things. Since then, GIGI has been on hiatus and to my knowledge hasn't worked on the game since the whole situation unfolded. Now because this happened a while ago, and I'm sure GIGI's had time to reflect, which by the way isn't me defending her, I want to make it clear that if you're not a victim, you don't get to decide whether GIGI has been forgiven or not. But since it's been some time, I'm not going to go into a deep dive on what was said or what happened. I really want to focus on the games themselves, so I strongly encourage you to do your own research before forming an opinion, as there is a lot of misinformation floating around. That said, I want to quickly address some of the more common rumors. SARA never worked for GIGI, at least not to my knowledge. The rumor that GIGI fired SARA and that SARA got jealous and is now plotting some kind of revenge is simply false and needs to be put to rest. I believe that some people who used to work with GIGI on Dress to Impress, whether they were fired or left on their own, have shared their own negative experiences working with her, but this does not apply to SARA. I'll be linking a few resources in the description, including the actual documents of SARA's accusations and GIGI's response. Again, I'm not trying to stir the pot again, I just want to clear up some of the misconceptions because I don't think they're helpful for either of the games. I also don't work for or with It Girl or Dress to Impress, so this video isn't some sort of propaganda. I don't personally know any of the developers from Dress to Impress or It Girl, so I'm not trying to speak on their behalf. This is just my opinion as someone who has been playing both games since around their release. I create content on both games every week, so I feel fairly confident saying that most of my information is unbiased, though I 100% do have an opinion. Of course, this doesn't have to influence your own opinion. Let's begin by addressing one of the most common accusations against It Girl. They copied the BRAT update. It seems like whenever the debate of It Girl comes up, someone always mentions how it obviously copied the BRAT update. What many people don't realize is that It Girl never had a BRAT update. They released a single shirt with the word BRAT on it, and that was before Dress to Impress even announced that they were going to be collaborating with Charlie XCX. Here's the proof. This screenshot shows when It Girl first shared their BRAT shirt on TikTok, with the release date showing July 26th, 2024. Now, here's Dress to Impress announcing their BRAT update on August 9th, 2024. The BRAT update itself wasn't actually even released until August 17th. I want to clarify that I'm not accusing Dress to Impress of copying It Girl. Dress to Impress officially partnered with Charlie XCX, which is what made their update special. On the other hand, It Girl's shirt was just a pop culture reference. Some players argue that Dress to Impress deserves credit for collaborating with Charlie XCX and claims that It Girl should be copyrighted or whatever, something dramatic like that. If that's what you believe, then you should carry the same energy for Dress to Impress when they added, say, Sabrina Carpenter's bodysuit. Are they collaborating with Sabrina? No. That's why it's considered a pop culture reference. Let's not forget that Dress to Impress had the Madoka set, which was later revamped and renamed to avoid copyright issues. Both games draw inspiration from the real world and incorporate it into their fashion games, but that was back in the summer. Let's take a more recent example. I came across a comment that actually inspired this video, so thank you. The commenter asked if I could cover the Lunar New Year update and the Valentine's Day update, and of course, I've got you covered. Let's start with the Lunar New Year update. The 2025 Lunar New Year was on January 29th, a day after my birthday. The mini Lunar New Year update for Dress to Impress was announced on January 22nd, 2025, and the official release date was the 25th. It Girl's update came out on the 29th. Now, these were very small updates. Each game only released just a few items. There is one item in particular that was released in both games games, and that is the traditional Chinese dress, which I believe is called a xipao. Sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation. I'm not that kind of Asian. Here's a side-by-side comparison, and honestly, yeah, these dresses look pretty similar. My issue with people accusing April of copying is that it's the Lunar New Year update. The Lunar New Year is a huge cultural and religious holiday, and while it may not be celebrated everywhere, accusing a game of copying just because it's a holiday update seems a bit off, especially since no game owns the holiday. In fact, a developer from April responded to these accusations, showing that they've been working on their update, specifically the xipao dress, a week before Dress to Impress announced theirs. Here are some screenshots from January 16th, and as a refresher, Dress to Impress's update was announced on the 22nd. Hopefully that clears things up for anyone accusing April of copying that particular dress or the updates. Let's move on to the Valentine's Day update. Part 1 of Dress to Impress's Valentine's Day update was released on February 8th, 2025, with Part 2 following on the 15th. April's update came out on the 13th. Dress to Impress's update was obviously a big one, arguably the best update the game has had. It included a new map, and for the first time, I've seen people accuse Dress to Impress of copying April. Guys, my dogs are barking again. They always do this when I'm filming. I'm so sorry. Anyways, I noticed that the map and overall vibe did seem to have a bit of an April feel, but I think that's mostly because it's a Valentine's update, so everything is pink and cutesy, which is a vibe April typically leans into. So, just to clarify, I'm not accusing Dress to Impress of copying April, I'm simply pointing out what's been said around the communities. April's update was smaller, but they did introduce important features like the It Boys and Pro servers, both concepts that were originally found in Dress to Impress. To that, I can only say that Dress to Impress doesn't own men or the male body or the masculine style. As for the Pro servers, it's something that the community has been requesting for a while, so it's just the developers responding to a fan demand. When April launched their Valentine's update, they also changed their icon to a cute little duo or couple, which was clearly to introduce their new It Boys. Dress to Impress also updated their icon for Part 2 of their update, which, remember, came out 2 days after April's. Theirs also featured another duo or couple. Here's a TikTok example of someone accusing April of copying Dress to Impress's icon. No hate towards this person, as I can see how it could be misinterpreted, that April actually changed their icon first. What's ironic is that the caption of the TikTok reads, "They too quick with it."
It's almost as if April looked into the future and copied Dress to Impress 2 days before they even released their icon.
Here's a screenshot of SARA and Toxic, the owners of April, discussing this icon idea back in January. I believe they're a couple, so this was a very super cute and creative idea of theirs, and it's disappointing that some people think it was an attempt to copy Dress to Impress when in reality it was just their own adorable concept. Again, I'm not accusing Dress to Impress of copying the icon, I'm just saying. I've mentioned this before, but I want to include it in the Valentine's update segment of this video. Style Showdown. I haven't played Style Showdown since its release because it's just not my thing. But in Style Showdown, there's a challenge called Random Item, where everyone in the game gets a random item and you have to style it.
Interestingly,
April had a similar game mode in the past. Here's a screenshot from October when that mode was still available. They've since removed it from April, though I think I read somewhere that it might return eventually, but I'm not entirely sure on that one. I just wanted to mention this because if April ever decides to bring back their different game modes, I already know people will start accusing them of copying Style Showdown. I'm clearing up those rumors before they even start, okay? Because the game mode concept was originally from April. Another popular accusation is that April copied some of the ranks from Dress to Impress. When I first played Dress to Impress, the first thing I actually noticed was the ranks because some of them looked a little familiar. Fashion Frenzy had them first. I'm not claiming that April didn't take inspiration from Dress to Impress, but it's not really fair to accuse them of copying Dress to Impress's ranks when Dress to Impress has done the same thing. Alright guys, it's time to play a game. I'm gonna show you items from Dress to Impress and April. These are items that April has been accused of copying, so they either look really similar or are pretty much identical. Your challenge is to guess which game had the item first. I did my best with the research, primarily checking the release dates of each update and such, but neither game has a detailed log of when items were added, so a lot of this comes from memory. If I get anything wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments. I'm focusing on the more recent items since those are easier to timeline, but there are definitely more than what I'm showing in this video, so I promise I'm not trying to cherry pick or anything. Okay, let's play.
Spiked flower crown. Make your guess in 3, 2, 1. If you said it girl, you are correct. Point shoes. Make your guess in 3, 2, 1. If you said it girl, you are correct. Sabrina Carpenter dress. Make your guess in 3, 2, 1. If you said dress to impress, you are correct. Witch broom. 3, 2, 1. It girl. Denim dress. 3, 2, 1. Dress to impress, though it is inspired off of this real dress. Lyre/harp. 3, 2, 1. Dress to impress. Bandages. 3, 2, 1. It girl. Crown. 3, 2, 1. It girl. Custom nails. 3, 2, 1. It girl. Fur hat. 3, 2, 1. Dress to impress. Lure. 3, 2, 1. Dress to impress.
How many did you get correct? Comment down below. The point of that game was to show that both Dress to Impress and It Girl have items that were, let's be honest, probably inspired by the other game. And that brings me to another point. I think people have forgotten the difference between copied and inspired. Inspired means taking influence from something, while copied means replicating something exactly. Sure, some items look almost identical, but those are likely based on real life clothing, which is why they appear so similar. Other items might look similar, but clearly have their own unique twist. This is one of those situations where I'm like, can we just all get along, hug it out, because it was never that serious. That's why I'm always baffled by the comments on my It Girl videos, because some of them are just so heinous and dramatic. Like, do you work for Dress to Impress? Yeah, I didn't think so.
So stop glazing them, because they will not be giving you free VIP.
Jokes aside, I've seen some pretty ridiculous accusations about It Girl. Someone even claimed that It Girl copied a scarf, which is just no, that doesn't even make any sense. That's like saying Ulta is copying Sephora just because they both sell lipstick. They're makeup stores. Of course they both sell lipstick. These are fashion games, so naturally they're both gonna have scarves. Remember at the start of this video when I said I'm pretty unbiased? Yeah, scratch that, I'm definitely biased. I absolutely think It Girl isn't just the Walmart version of Dress to Impress, but hey, that doesn't mean you can't have a different opinion. There are some things I didn't cover in this video, even though I did the research for them. I just can't sit here for hours losing my sanity talking about Roblox games. So if you have any questions or disagreements, feel free to drop them in the comments. Just remember, keep it respectful. There's really no reason to be cursing anyone out. Like I said, it's not that serious. I'm also sensitive, so no hate train, please. Anyways, guys, that was episode 2 of my little Dress to Impress podcast. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment down below any other topics you would like me to cover. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Shout out to my top donors, and if you decide to visit again, I will see you guys next time. Bye!